Greetings. My name is Dr. Katrina Lantos Swett, and I'm so pleased to be able to join you for this important online conference. I had the privilege of serving as the chair of the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. And most recently, I was honored to join Ambassador Sam Brownback as the co-chair of the Earth Summit 2021, which took place in July in Washington, D.C., with over 1,000 participants from around the world. Those of us who have been engaged in the cause of religious freedom for many years welcome this opportunity to address an issue that is near and dear to our hearts on this International Day commemorating victims of acts of violence based on religion or belief. It is particularly appropriate that we should be meeting right now as the world watches with great alarm the unfolding takeover of Afghanistan by the Taliban. The violence and brutality that characterized Taliban rule in the past is a powerful reminder to us all that freedom of religion and conscience is a fundamental human right, one that respects the individual autonomy and freedom of each one of us. Those who seek to impose their beliefs on others through violence or intimidation are enemies of religious freedom, and we must have the courage and determination to stand up to them. When the world adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, they included among the inviolable rights that all humans are entitled to the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. Despite the clear, broad, and inclusive language of Article 18, as we look around the world, we see grave violations of religious freedom that affect billions of people across the globe. The very worst abuses typically take place in dictatorships, whether they be religious theocracies like Iran and now Afghanistan, which demand adherence to their prescribed beliefs, or aggressively atheistic governments like the communist governments in China and North Korea. In these circumstances, we see the wholesale repression and persecution of religious communities and individuals, often involving violence, imprisonment, and even death. These circumstances should outrage the conscience of the world, and clearly much more must be done to confront these countries and hold them to account for their violation of international law. But what is also deeply concerning is that sometimes serious religious freedom abuses take place in countries that we identify as democratic and rights-based. Pakistan and India are both democracies, but in each of these countries we see grave and ongoing violations of freedom of religion, conscience, and belief. Pakistan targets its Ahmadiyya community for overt discrimination and persecution, and its aggressive application of its anti-blasphemy laws places Pakistan in the embarrassing position of having more people on death row for the phony crime of blasphemy than any other country. India, the largest democracy in the world by population, has seen a drastic downward trend in religious freedom conditions, according to the most recent report of USERF. There is widespread harassment and violence directed at religious minorities, and nationalist BJP-led government officials have proven themselves unwilling or incapable of confronting this challenge. Even countries that have been shining examples of robust and vibrant democratic rule have failed in some notable instances to fully protect the conscience rights of their citizens. There were grave concerns expressed during the height of the COVID pandemic about scapegoating of some religious communities in South Korea. And in Taiwan, the long-running attack against the Taiji men community by bureaucratic despots within the tax administration have led many religious freedom experts around the world to condemn this form of administrative religious persecution. To their everlasting credit, so many of the communities that have been unfairly targeted and attacked have found within their faith the strength not to return evil with evil, but have sought to remain an influence for goodness, forgiveness, brotherhood, and virtue within their communities. I am full of admiration for those who have the strength to live out their ideals, even in the face of terrible injustice, and I hope to learn from their inspiring example. The defense of religious freedom is vital, not only because it protects the individual dignity and conscience of our fellow human beings, but because societies that protect this basic right are societies that will also protect the other precious human rights we all cherish. I'd like to close by sharing a story that I think illustrates this point. In the 1300s, the theologian, writer, and priest John Wycliffe believed he was called by God to translate the Bible from the Latin Vulgate into the common vernacular that ordinary men and women could read and understand. He undertook this task despite the determined opposition of the ecclesiastical authorities of his day and in the face of grave persecution. Despite all, he persisted, and when he was done, he wrote the following words in the flyleaf of that first Bible. I quote, "The translation is complete and shall make possible government of the people, by the people, and for the people." What a remarkable thing to write. Words that were echoed centuries later by Abraham Lincoln in his immortal Gettysburg Address. I believe Wycliffe meant by those words that when men and women are free to seek and find truth for themselves, they become empowered to build societies that honor and defend the conscience and civil rights of all people. Thank you.